1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Job. Sasa
1 2 1 2. Mark check. Thank you. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. So the sound has come.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Robert. Can I request the gentleman at the back? Can I request the gentleman at the back to move forward? Jetson and Robert, please. You can move closer home. Come in front, please. So in the interest of time, since we've taken quite some time to start this, I request we stand up for a word of prayer. Let's believe and pray. Gracious Lord in heaven, Father, I want to thank you for the grace and mercies that you made it possible, Father, to have us here today. Father, since we left yesterday, we are glad you've taken care of us. Father, you necessitated us to be here, even to listen and plan for our future lives and for the future activities that we want to do, Father. We pray that, Lord, may you guide the leaders who are going to take us through this, give them wisdom, counsel, that they may show us and they may give us direction. Father, we pray this day, O Lord, Father, that you may even encourage members as much as they can, O Lord, Father, to join this program to the glory and honor of thy name. Thank you, Father, that you hear us and you answer our prayers for this humble prayer, believing and trusting in the name of Jesus Christ. Thank you so much. In the interest of time, we'll get to start. I'll invite Ken to come and guide us in this program as we get the other members from outside to join us. Ken, I think you're good to go, right? Yeah, take the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those who are with us today and those who are watching us online. It is our pleasure that we have this session this day, and essentially at the end of this session we need to ask ourselves one question: what is our objective of listening today? The one objective we want to achieve at the end of this session is it possible that we can be able to stop fundraisings when we have losses of our loved ones, when we are having bereavements in church, in a more modest way, in a more affordable way, in a more humble way? I want to start by defining the problem. And the problem we have in church, in welfare organizations, is such that we have the issue of disparities. When we go to Njoroge's home and we do a fundraising, we are likely to raise 300,000. But when we go to Omondi's home, we will probably raise 100,000. That disparity is a challenge to church members and to welfare members, wherever they are. There are many groups who are affected, and this is what we want to address today. Can we get an answer? Number two, is it possible that I can budget that within the church environment, any member of this congregation who loses a loved one, I am able to contribute without feeling pain? And thirdly, am I able to do something that will not chase away my colleague and my member, my neighbor from the church by virtue of the fact that the way we conducted ourselves was construed to mean we were biased because of what and how we stand in society, so that if I have a high standing in society, I'll get more from the church, as opposed to if I am perceiving myself to be of lower, I could call it, I have invested in lower, in my social capital, I have not invested in many of my friends, and therefore it then appears that we are we and them. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of us who are sitting with us here and those of us who are watching live, if you don't get that answer by the end of this session, then I could have not achieved my objective. My name is Kennedy Mungare Mugaka. I am the CEO for Davnest Insurance Brokers. And in this instance, I have a partnership with Liberty Life, which you can see on your screen. Liberty Life is formerly Alico, for those of us who lived long time ago, which changed to CFC Life, and finally today it's called Liberty. It has more than 50 years of existence in Kenya, And as you will see later, it is having a span of expansive network within Africa. This is countries like South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, in Nigeria, in Tanzania, in South Sudan, across the continent. And why we have chosen them as the flagship of this product is the kind of efficiencies that they have, more so in the South African market. The parent company for Liberty Life is in South Africa, and they are big. And having had the experience that they have, then this is the reason we want to propose them as the #1 insurance company that will be able to run this scheme. So what is this scheme? I want to define the proposition. The proposition is such that we have said it needs to be very, very competitive in pricing. It needs to have meaning. It actually needs to be harmonious with what we do in church. Thirdly, we want to reduce or otherwise do away with fundraisings amidst ourselves. We want to mitigate any risk amongst ourselves. And in so doing, anybody who will be a member of the church who is above 18 years, who has children who are above 14 days, and who has parents who are adults, of course every parent and parent-in-law is an adult above 18, will be eligible to enter the scheme. And this scheme, and I want to start with the fact that one, insurance will not give you 100% of the answers that you require. It will give you 90, 95, 96, 98% of what your solution will be. A percentage will always be yours, and we shall be able to demonstrate by first of all saying, when you start, you shall wait for 2 months before any claim will be paid. That is to say, if you start on tomorrow 1st February, you will need to wait February, March, and 1st April is the date that will be effective when you can put any claim of any loss of any family member. That is the first thing you need to note, because many of us ask, we speak about the good side of the cover. What is the minus, which we call the conditions, which I need to know, which give minuses to my arrangement? Number 2, it will take members in this congregation and anywhere in any group where you belong whose age is 70 and below as the applicant. It will also take children whose age is below 25. Your children need to be 25. And it will take your parents whose age is 80 and below, and parent-in-laws. So you have already seen the cutoff. Now, when does the cover stop if it starts? The cover for me as a member who has applied will not stop until God allows me that date to live. Whether I'm 90 or 100, it continues. That applies to my spouse. Number 2, the only people who will exit this cover once they are eligible and they are in are children once they are mature. At 25, they want to start marrying, they want to leave your nest. Then at that point, you will be able to have them go. But the parents and parent-in-laws who have come in at 80 will be there until the Lord allows us. And therefore, we now need to define the questions that are running in your mind. And for us, as an announcement, for us who are on YouTube, who are watching us live, please, there is a chat wall. Please put your questions and they'll be answered as we progress. Now, the question that we need to answer is, the demographics amongst ourselves do not speak to that product. The truth is, from the very many schemes that we are currently running, more than 100, the statistics we have are such that such parents who are below 18, every group statistically are averaging members. Like now in this church, you are likely to be 96% of the population that will have parents with ages below 80. That's a fact. Then there are parents who are going to be above 80, and I've categorized them into set 2 of 3%, where you can see for 3%, these parents will also need cover. But after 85, we also have about 1% of those parents amongst ourselves or amongst any group on average that we are addressing. So then the question comes, what do we do? My proposition today that I am proposing to the church and to the various organizations watching us is one, that we deal with very many insurance companies, and many of them will recognize and address your plights depending on your circumstances. And as a broker, and that is the reason you will deal with me and you are dealing with me, is such that I'm not giving you a product, I am giving you a solution that fits the dynamics of the membership. Now, when we indicate that, what do we mean? We indicate that by saying we shall have one proposition that will address the first concern which I have indicated. Then number two, we will have another company which will address that and beyond. And number three, and most important, we shall have a category that the church, welfare, and AMO will take care of. The 1% that we have talked about will be taken care of by the church fund. Just to illustrate that, because it's very important for each one of us to know that, there is category 1 and category 2, they'll be eligible for insurance. But category 3, which we have said is 1%, will not be eligible to be insured. And it's 1%. So if we are 100, we are saying about 10 or 1% actually, about one family or two will have parents whose age is beyond this. This will be catered in 3 ways. One, I'll give the example of a church in Nyeri which decided that category 1 and 2 will pay an equivalent of 5,000 shillings, whereas category 1 is paying 3,000 shillings for premium, category 2 is paying 3,500, then the rest of the amount is kept as a fund to address the 1%. This other group that I have in Mombasa decided that now that we have taken the statistics of the membership, we now have 1%, we now have 3 members, and we have taken an option of 100,000. We shall do a fundraising on our June 3rd to reach 300,000 and keep it. And then we are all working together. That is the proposition I want to give the church, which is more practical and which is more Christian, because we have to be a keeper of each other. So straight away to the first option. The first option is offered by Liberty Life. And Liberty Life, you can see, offers us an array of options. Under option 1, if you look at the red row where it's reading premium, and you start with option 1, it says each member of the church will contribute 1,200 per year. And what will it do? If you look up, you will see that it will cover this member, assume it's me as the member. In the event that, God forbid, I depart during that year, 50,000 shillings will be payable to the family for burial expenses within 48 hours. If my spouse passes on, I will also get 50,000. If any of my child, up to 4 children, passes on, 50,000 will be paid within 2 days. And if any of my 2 parents or any of my 2 parent-in-laws pass on, 50,000 will be paid. If you count, that is a package of 10 people for 1,200. If you move to option 2, if 50,000 shillings is small, you will look and see that it will charge 2,300 per year to give you a package of 100,000. Option 3 is 4,600 for a package of 200,000. 6,800 shillings per year for a family for 300,000. 9,000 per year for a package of 400,000. And lastly, 11,400 per year per family for a package of 500,000. At this point, I also want to point to the fact that our sister church in New Life here, there is a section and 2 groups which have taken this cover. We have had to pay 6 claims last year during COVID. You can seek out and talk to them. And we have not missed to pay within 48 hours. Working day. 2 working days. Now, suppose there's a column additional premium per member. We are Africans. My sister's child is under my custody, and I'm 100% in the one who takes care of that child. Under option 1, if you have a child who is your adopted child, who is not your child, and therefore is under your custody and is under 24 years, you will pay an extra 150 shillings over and above the 4 you have. Or if you have been blessed and you don't have 4 children but you have 6 or 7, that therefore means this package price will take care of 4, but the extra child over and above 4, you will pay the amounts below there. 150 for 50,000, 300 for option 200,000, 300 for 200,000, and so forth. Then there is a red pen that says maximum 6 claims per year. Ladies and gentlemen, the difference between this solution I'm giving you and the solution that are in the market is that one. That in the event a family was traveling, they crash, 4 of them pass on, will only one be paid? No. It will pay all of them, but subject to 6 claims in that family in that year. Scenario 2. Suppose I lose my mother in January, you pay. And then later, July, I lose my child. Will you pay? Yes. And later, I lose my father-in-law in October. Will you pay? Yes. So it will do a count up to 6 times within a year. So much so that for each family that will enter into this arrangement from this church, this policy will anticipate a maximum of 6 deaths and will respond to 6 deaths in each family. So much so that if we are 100 and we are saying each family can be paid up to 6 deaths, then we are actually saying this premium that you are giving will guarantee 600 deaths if they occur within the church within that year. I hope that is a bit more clearer. Then I don't want to leave there. I want to explain further. Suppose, so that I anticipate the questions you are asking and I answer them in advance. Suppose I have a brother-in-law within the church. He takes cover and I take cover. That therefore means we have parents who have been named twice. And therefore, what happens? This cover will respond to as many times as you have taken the cover, subject to, if you can see the bottom maximum limit of multiple claims of 1 million shillings per year. I need to put that into context. Joseph is my brother-in-law. Josephine is my sister. My brother-in-law takes cover. I have therefore named my brother-in-law, my father-in-law in my cover. Joseph has named his father, who is my father-in-law, in the cover. My sister Josephine has also named my parents. So Josephine has a cover for 500,000. I have a cover for 300,000. Joseph has a cover for 100,000. That makes 5 plus 3 plus 1, 900,000. So if an incident occurs to any of these parents who is multiple times named in this arrangement, 900,000 will be paid. Scenario 2. Suppose then Joseph had taken a cover for 500,000. I took a cover for 500,000, and my sister Josephine had taken 200. That makes 1.2 million. Ladies and gentlemen, at that point, you will only be paid 1 million shilling as the ceiling. So what is my role as a broker? My role as a broker to advise you is, because we are keeping statistics, we will tell you at this point, you are applying, your sister, brother-in-law is here, we advise you now, you are going to have 1 million ceiling, so you better simply move and take another cover elsewhere, because under this arrangement, you shall only benefit up to 1 million shilling because you've burst the ceiling. I trust I've done justice to that. This cover starts and ends in 30th September. So it's a bind arrangement which moves, and therefore, if it ends in September, and this is good news for the team that is managing this scheme. If, for example, then you assume, you can see on the screen, the annual premiums have just tabulated them, and you are starting on either 1st or 29th or 20th of February. Because all of you will come in different sets. What will happen in the different options? Take the example of 100,000, which I realized was the most famous with the question. I tended to do a questionnaire yesterday, verbal questionnaire, and I realized people are talking of 100 as the average amount you will take. Then that means for 2,300 per year, and you start on 1st February, I have written month, day, year, then you will only be in the scheme for 8 months this year. You will pay pro rata premium rather than 2,300, you will pay 1,333 between now and 30th September. That is good news because you will be able to therefore now do budgeting. On 1st October, you will now pay 2,300 to run from 1st October to the end of 1st October 2022. If it's option 1 of 1,200, you will pay 800 shillings only. If it is the option of 6, where you pay 11,400, you'll only pay 7,600 to run this period. Remember, when you start, you must wait for 2 months. However, if an accident occurs, then that accident will guarantee the payment of that claim immediately, even if it's the same day. Having said that, I now want to move to the second group. Suppose my parent is above 80. Suppose my parent is above 80. We have providers in the market, and Cusco, amongst them, has a very good package. For the equivalent of 100,000, which is platinum, which is option 2, whereas we were having 2,300 elsewhere, you will cough 3,100 shillings to have the same package. Together, I mean, if you go to Cusco, because I'm offering 2 options here, it will charge you 3,100. For 1,200, for 50,000, it will charge you 1,500. And the same benefits will accrue to you, the way we spoke on the other end. Only that at the bottom, for them, for those who do general insurance, they will ask the accumulation limit. For them, the maximum payout of multiple parents or children, because I can take and my wife takes, so we have named children severally, the maximum benefit they will pay is not 1 million, but is 750,000 shillings. So that should be noted. And having therefore said that, there is a unique group within the church, and they form 0.1%. It's called an empty nest, but not dove nest. We are called the dove nest, but this is an empty nest. I am a grandma. I am now 69, 70, but 65, 70. My children have all married. They are above 25. I lost my husband, or I am alone. Am I also going to pay that package the way others I pay? That's the question less than 1% is asking somewhere. Now, for that unique kind of person, we also have sorted out in the market, and we have unique providers, and I'm giving one example on the screen, which says that for this person, like for 60,000, where we were paying 1,200 elsewhere, for 50,000, you will part with 825 shillings as you alone, because you don't have any other member. That makes economic sense. The reason we are here is not to sell your product, but to understand who you are and adapt your situation to a solution that is best suited in the market. Please get that. We are not selling a product. We are different. We are uniquely different because we want to address your plight You are unique in your own circumstances, and therefore we shall relay you to that speaks to you. That shall be our overriding, and God help us. Though under this you realize that you must be under 65, so there is a cap. I want to go, but I must be 65 and below. And then it has an exit age at 80. The others don't have an exit age. So such, we will be able to engage one-on-one in order to ensure that the entire church and the entire welfare moves along, because we represent more than 30 insurance companies in Kenya. And I forgot to say that I have worked, my experience together with my team who are here, I have worked as a manager in Britain in the 90s for 3 years. I have worked with ICA Lion as their manager for 6.5 years. I have worked as marketing manager for Heritage for 7 years. I have worked as the manager for insurance in Stanbic Bank for about 4 years, and I retired from KCB, which is KCB Insurance Agency, a subsidiary of KCB Bank, having been a deputy to the director for 4 years. So I speak from good knowledge, and having been licensed by the regulator, it is my role to ensure that your solution fits you, not a product that we need to give you. Quickly then, what are the logistics for you to go in? In the event that you as a principal pass on, we have said 6 deaths, then any one of your children, spouse, principal, father, mother takes over that cover automatically until it ends. And that's why we don't have a beneficiary. When you will see the form, we don't have a beneficiary to designate specifically somebody. In the event that you get to pass on or anybody leaves, any one of them can be paid in order to beat the challenges that we are having today, where we have to go and get letters of administration. For us, 3 years to get burial expenses of a person who passed on 3 years ago. To move forward, we have already also said the premium will be annual, it will be prorated, and it will be 24. We have another minus. Applicants who are permanently resident outside the country by the Insurance Act are restricted not to take the arrangement. But on special arrangement, and you need to mention to us, we shall seek special accommodation. And the insurance companies have been more than grateful to do the same. Then how do I join? For me to join, I must be able to give my ID, my spouse's ID or passport, my KRA PIN. It's a requirement by the Kenyan law that every person who transacts with any financial institution must identify themselves and submit a KRA PIN. Thirdly, you need to give us copies of the birth certificates of your children to establish both the price and the identity of those children. And lastly, you will give us the copies of the identity cards of your parents and parents-in-laws. What will be required when a claim occurs? We have said we'll pay in 48 hours. We shall find a form that you will fill. In that form, you will say, so-and-so has passed on in this place, and I'm the beneficiary now, and we have said who the beneficiary is, and then you attach the burial permit or death certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also agreed with the insurance companies that there are circumstances that will be unique where you'll have bills in hospital unpaid, and the hospital holds back the burial permit until you pay. What happens? And you need the burial permit, the burial amount. Otherwise, this is the money maybe you need. Like it happened in January. There is a case we paid in Migori. The body was held. The burial permit was withheld. So we have agreed that if the affected family can get a letter on the letterhead from the hospital saying so and so of this ID passed on in this hospital, and we certify and the doctor signs, that is sufficient to unlock your money. Then next, you'll give us the copy of the ID of the deceased persons. You don't have to give it because you had already given it earlier. You'll give us a copy of the ID of the beneficiary ID, of the beneficiary to be paid money. If at all the people you named are not the ones who are going to be paid, then you'll give us the identity of the person we are paying. And if it's a police accident, is a police abstract will be required for accidents on the road. And lastly, you will give us an extract that shows accuracy of the banking details. KCB account number, this, it may be you may do an ATM withdrawal, wrap the details of the balance and others, so that when they pay directly to that account, so that they don't read 8 as 3 or 3 as 8 and the money goes to anybody's account. I need to stop there and reinforce this position. Many schemes in the market will tell you, give me the list of the names and we are good and pay. The rubber meets the road when you shall get an incident, when the death occurs in that family. This is the time they want to verify these documents. So you all agree and you know, and I need to passionately implore you, that we have been bereaved. Many of us have visited bereaved families. It is so hard on day one to visit the family. Rather than telling them pole, you are telling them, oh, ako hapa Mombasa, ni nani ako nyumbani atupatie ID yake mahali aliweka ama kutoka sanduku, please leave us to mourn first of all. And you know how death comes and the kind of disruption it brings to family. By the time people get to themselves in 3, 4, 5 days, COVID has taught us that burials are done within days or so. How do you then get to understand, we have looked for this document, we can't find it? That claim will not be paid. So the reason we want these documents day one, and I want to implore that all of you as church members and welfare members assist leaders to do the same. It is because when you have lost, or you have had a person you have lost in your family, you truly only require minimum disruptions. Only thing you want from Davnest or Liberty or any other is the payment. So when you have done all these documentations, and I guarantee you, yes, last year we paid 89 cases. None of them fell below 2 days. And we are proud we paid a claim of a Muslim family in November last year. We were reported at 9 a.m. The money was wired to the account at 4:30 p.m. Reason being, I labored to make the shamba clean on day one. We don't want drama, and I want to give a very good example of what happens. I know there is a family whose mother is called Wilkista, but the ID reads Wilkita. So if I told you to write the names of your parents and others, you write Wilkista. When the claim will come, you'll bring a document of an ID showing Wilkista. All of you know that that's a totally different person. That claim is not paid. You will have to have theater. And what is the next thing? You guys in Dovnest are liars. You guys in insurance are liars. We don't walk that direction. And I want to say very categorically on this scheme, you cannot onboard anybody without the documentations, because we have a guarantee to settle your claims within 2 days without drama. So please give sufficient assistance to the leadership to be able to do that, and it's for the benefit of all of us. So I've finished my presentation, and I want to ask a few questions. Does this exclude anything? Ladies and gentlemen, it only excludes anybody who is actively involved in political violence and terrorism. If you are the terrorist and you are the gun, and you died on the bayonet, then you are excluded. Otherwise, if you are a victim of terrorism, this policy covers you. HIV, AIDS, and others, not excluded. Suicide, not excluded. After 2 months, it pays. And the anniversary date, we have talked about it every year. And then we have said, and I need to remind, if the calculation of that premium is such that it's less than 200 shillings, then 200 shall apply. There are those members who will come in, a new member in this church, then you tell him, join the welfare, it is 1 month too. the premium is 120, so atalipa 200 shillings. The next question, who is eligible as a member to join? We have said a member of the church, a spouse, 4 children maximum, 2 parents and 2 parent-in-laws. Can I include my siblings in the cover if I have? We have said yes, at an extra fee. Now, I want to indicate this. The only attestation you have for insurance for the promises we make, big ones here, is the document called a policy document. If your policy document does not speak the details that all of us speak loud here, but because we want the business to get into our books and the insurance company, then you're in trouble. Including your motor vehicles, we do motor vehicles, we do all these other insurances. The attestation to the evidence of what you have is the detail of the policy. This is an endorsement in insurance, it's called, into the policy that we have, that has been signed by Liberty, to say, endorsement number 1, that the maximum benefit payable for end life covered multiple times in the policies will be 1 million shillings, signed by the underwriting manager, sanctioned. If you don't see that, then all we are speaking here is hot air. Please always insist to get the validity of the documentations that will validate your answer. And that's why many of us will think when you pay 2,300, it's higher than I pay another person who is telling me 2,000. But 2,000, what is the condition there? That in the event of any one death in that family, the cover drops, and after dropping, you have to pay again and have a waiting period. So essentially, you have bought a cover for one person for 2,000 compared to a cover for 2,300 for 6 deaths, ideally. So the detail is the devil in this arrangement. Sorry to use that word on the pulpit. Now, just to recap, we have said you can enter the scheme when you are 18 years, 14 days for the children, and the parents, maximum age, for us 70, for children, maximum 24, parents 80. And I want to speak to 70. Suppose I am the applicant and we have senior citizens in this who are 70. What should I do? I will change, I want to give the solution because that's the reason I'm here. At 70, I'm 71. But my son and my daughters are older, so I will switch my application and give it so that my daughter and my son is the one who shall apply. And then they will name me as the parent and the parent-in-laws, and therefore I am in. So that's a solution for some of us who are asking, what about 70? And we have said exit, no exit. Exclusions, we have talked about them. Do I have to name my dependents? We have talked about it. Ladies and gentlemen, on the screen is the form that will be required to be filled. You shall fill, the group name shall be Nairobi's South SDA Church or the welfare where you belong. The bank account, you put it there. I also need to say that this policy at the point of claim will pay anyone, including the church welfare. And I suppose that is the most important, so that now when the church is paid within 2 days, they have the money. They move the 3rd, 4th day, they go present it to the family. Now this time I'll not hide that it's Mwezi Kona. I know the church has already carried 100,000, so tuende tuombe. So there are not some of us who will start pulling back because payment has, sina kitu ya kwenda kupeana. We will move and our spiritual growth will be higher. Or it can pay me as the applicant, or it can pay my parent or my parent-in-laws, as it may be within, as you have named those people in that arrangement. Then you do the period, you can be able to see it. The period, for example, will start 15th February. It will end I've put 14th February, that's an error. It will end in 30th September and then start in September, 1st October next year. Now, which documents I have indicated? Do I have my beneficiaries to be named in the cover? Yes. What documents are required for the claim? I have indicated. When do I pay the claim? 2 months from the date of signing up. Like the church starts in February, In April, you are eligible. I believe by June, you should target yourself to say that there is no any more fundraisings in church, either by May, after every other person. We have come from school fees season in January. We are heading to February, it's low. March, I'll get the money, I'll budget. Then by April, all of us have gotten the documents from my mother-in-law, father-in-law. So by April, we should be all qualified. And by 1st May, any one of us who is out could have been identified, so that even me, I can contribute. I'd rather give 2,000 for a member who may not be able to manage, and then is eligible to have covered his entire family, so that we all work together. How do I claim? You'll talk to the church members or the welfare members, or you'll call us directly, or you'll call Liberty directly, or the insurance company that has taken you up. Then the claim will be lodged. How do I claim? We have said 48 hours. Now, this policy on question 13 asks, how long should I be able to report my claim? All the others in the industry tell you 90 days. But suppose I had my brother who was in South Africa, Botswana, he passed on, nobody knew, he was put person unknown. We have come to realize after 6 months, 7 months that he passed on, and it's now we are reporting. This is well negotiated, it accommodates up to 1 year. Other policies, and I said terms and conditions are very important, will tell you maximum 90 days, 30 days, 60 days. So it's important that you note that. How long does it take to pay? 48 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of my presentation. How do we start? The form will be available. It will be announced on our website. You can download it. We have given it in church. You can download it from the website. We can send it to you. You can add and give us the children. Then as a welfare, you will be able on number 4 to do an Excel sheet, which we will take over the summary of the members. And then, as I stop for the questions to come forth, you may take the numbers on the screen. We have a YouTube presentation which you can download anytime and listen if you are not able to do this. Also, for some of us who are watching online and you want to share this with others, you need to kindly share the same. Yes. I want to thank you for listening to me and open the floor for questions and answers. And there is no question that is a stupid question. Insurance is technical, and it's my humble duty together my team who are here. I believe the chat has been going on and the answers have been given. So kindly, those who are in charge, walk up front and kindly ask as many questions as possible, because this is a contract. Insurance is a contract. Unless it's well articulated and understood, it is not good to go into it with half information. Thank you very much. Kindly walk up front. And thank you, the online watchers. Nelson, I am not sure whether there are any chats that have come that we may need to address from the chat box. Thank you, my brother. Take the microphone. Put it on. Yeah, thank you. Proceed.
Thank you for a very good presentation. You talked about the member of the family info. Let me say if the family are the 12 members, how can you help them?
Thank you very much. I'd want Agri to come over and answer that for me. We said this is a package of, I'm not able, I usually do Zoom and I like interaction. Because I need to know whether my students were also listening. I may have been speaking to myself, and he could try to
Let me understand. The 12 is kids.
Yes, the 12 children.
So, I think the insurance will get pay the 4, but you have to register all of them. And then for the extra 8, then you have to get the higher payment.
Thank you very much. Good student. We said that the price package is for 4 children. If you are blessed with more children beyond 4, then you will be able to pay depending on, as you can see on the screen projected, depending on the option you have taken, you will pay the additional premium. For example, if there are 12, 4 have been taken care of, 8 have not been taken care of with the pricing. So 8 times 150 shillings, if it's option 1, will give you the additional premium of and above 1,200. 300 shillings times 8 of them is 2,400 plus 2,300 for a package of 100,000. That makes it 4,700 shillings. Sorry for that. Thank you very much. The next question. As he walks forward, you may walk, don't fear. And remember, those of us who are in church and who are an audience who will be able to ask questions on behalf of those. Not necessarily your question, but with respect to others who are away.
Thank you for the presentation that you have done this morning. My question is, if I'm a member of Nairobi South Church, I have contributed to Nairobi as a family, and I feel like I want to go to New Life. I do the same. I go to Karengata, I do the same. But still, under Liberty, am I eligible to get from each groups that I've subscribed to? Thank you.
I wish somebody from the congregation could have answered that so that I know whether we were listening, but for the purpose of speed and time, we did project an endorsement or a cover in the policy which says multiple coverages. So the same way we illustrated the fact that different family members have named one person several times is the same way. You can see at the bottom of what I've said, the maximum payable is 1 million shillings. But I need to put it in more context so that you understand why, because somebody else who is not here is asking me. Insurance says you cannot pay so many times, you only need to be paid once. I believe that is exactly what he's asking in an indirect manner. Just for some little education so that some of us are in the same page, insurance has 2 arms. One arm is what is called short-term insurance, or otherwise general insurance, which talks about insuring properties. Properties have a specific value. If it's my laptop here, it has a value of 50,000 shillings. If I have a house, it's 3 million shillings. So even if I take 5 insurance arrangements, only one will pay me, or all the combination will pay me in ratios to only pay me 50,000 shillings for my laptop. It's called the principle of indemnity. Now, the second arm of insurance is called life, and it's called life assurance. It's actually not called life insurance. It's life assurance, which now departs from property to people and humans. And by the way, Kennedy Mongare, who is speaking to you today, has no value in. You can tag, you can't call me 10 million, you can't give me a value of 5 million, you can't give me 20 million. The only amount I can be equivalent is the amount that I can want to pay for and pay a bundle of that. So then the insurance company will assure me that in the event I depart, in the event this happens, we shall pay you this much. So it's the same way we have life endowments which end a certain period of time. We have full life insurance. We have a life insurance that take 20 years, 15 years. We have term insurances like the one, if you go to the bank, they'll tell you this loan takes 15 years, so we'll give you a term insurance called Credit Life that will run up to this point, and therefore you will pay us this. In the event that you pass on during this period of time, we shall pay this amount equivalent to the loan. So it's an assurance. This life assurance arrangement is the same category where the funeral life assurance falls into. And therefore, if you then say, I have taken this amount, and I have in group, I belong in like for example, me, I'm belonging in 5 groups. There is the alumni in the university, I have paid. There is the family one, I have paid. There is the Dove Nest Insurance Brokers scheme, I have paid. There is my church, I have paid. I also belong in my estate where I stay, Valley View Park Estate, I have paid. But subject to 1 million shillings. Under Liberty. Under Cusco, 750,000. Under others, one death, then they don't pay others. But in this instance, the proposition we have given is such that you are eligible subject to 1 million shillings if those schemes are within Liberty. Thank you very much. Thank you. As he walks forward, we continue thanking those of you who are online and watching us. This is courtesy of Nairobi South SDA Church, the AMO group, so that we are addressing the plight of welfare members. They are tired, as you are tired, as you watch on this screen. They do not want to continue contributing such that if I pay 2,300 in my group and this takes care of all of us until the end of the year, it is less than 10,000, 20,000 I contributed last year to my friends and others, and that money can go alongside to be charitable enough to pay for those, my brothers, cousins, and others who could have not done the same. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you for your presentation. I have two questions to ask. The first one is, you mentioned the issue of identity that might not be in proper sequence. I might ensure my brother, and yet I might not know exactly how the name was written. That will bring issues. You did mention that. Also, I need you to explain in case such is not there. In case also in a situation where they've lost the ID or any other identification document, how will you handle such matters? And if the naming is one or two, say I'm missing two names or three names in my ID, yet I don't know of my parents, the third name I'm written to. How will you handle such identity issues? Kindly expound on that. Lastly, is being a dynamic group of membership, you will find that some people might not be able to pay out. Let's say we start the month of March. Some people might not do it, and yet you know that it runs for 1 year. So when I pay for, when someone else starts on March, another one starts on May, another one on June, how will you handle such in terms of financial year of that
arrangement of that scheme?
Of that scheme.
Thank you.
Because it has to run for an annual year and then the other one. Going to the next year again, someone might end up not starting on time. How will you handle such things? And also, it might not be exactly to you, but also to the church members. How will you handle such scenarios where some people will start paying late, and yet we need the scheme to run smoothly, so that when it comes to the end of financial year, we know we've ended on this date of this month, without interrupting much or giving much problems to the provider of the service.
Thank you. I want to request you to remain there. You have given me almost 6, 7. If I forget one, you remind me, so that I don't skip your answering them. But before I start answering, there is one thing I forgot to say. We subscribe to the principle of utmost confidentiality. I have also implored, and the church also knows, that this information that we are capturing for this arrangement is extremely sensitive because it has family details which can be risky if they are leaked out. Like in our office, we have ensured that we have actually enlisted the services of high-end companies like MTN to secure our systems. Liberty is also the same. The church, I am discussing with them also to ensure that the confidentiality of the information that is given is to the utmost. Having said that, the first question he has asked is in relation to the period. Many people will come in one at a time as documents come and as money comes in. So this will be accommodated because we said there is pro rata every, like 8 months divided by what? 8 months divided by what? Like what you can see on the screen, you will pay. Those who will come in March will pay slightly less and run up to September. Those who will come in May will pay slightly less until by 1st October we all start together. But remember, as you come in, you will have waiting period of 2 months before you can benefit. That's one. Number two, second question was, I'm sorry I didn't write.
The second question that you did not answer was the terms of
Thank you. Yes, I got you. I got you. Now, if the ID is lost, the Kenyan laws say you go and get a police abstract. The police abstract will suffice. The reason we have the ID is to identify the date of birth. I know that I was given a thumbs up by the insurance companies that I'm dealing with last year because I never had any single claim declined. Because when you say my mother, I think is 1945, and you put it there, and they give you the cover, it is outside, it's out of utmost good faith. But when now she passes on, and you bring the ID, which reads 1930, and the person is already above 80, they will disclaim. The church was waiting for payment. The payment does not come in the last minute, and it is disappointment. So I will exclude that member if the ID will not be there from day one. But when it shall be found, we can assist. Siku hizi kupata ID duplicate ni rahisi. It is important. The disappointment when somebody is bereaved is worse. I would rather disappoint you on day one and never take it than be a storyteller when the claim comes for identity purposes. The next one, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Those who are online, you can put your questions, and the chat wall is being answered by my colleagues, Kennedy Ngumba Umweni, Nelson, Eunice. They are all online answering your questions as much as they would be. If we don't, we said you can be able to give us a call, having picked our numbers for further clarification. It seems like I don't have many questions coming through, and on my twilight minutes to close the session. And with that, I want to finish by saying thank you very much for attending the session. Remember what Ecclesiastes book tells us, that yes, as much as the book of Job tells us that each person's day is written and the second and hour is already predetermined, we all are in a journey to heaven through death, because after the second resurrection, we shall all join the Lord Jesus Christ as he comes the second time. And Ecclesiastes tells us that however good and however beautiful life you could have lived, if a person or a man or a relative does not get a decent burial, then it's as good as he could have become a stillborn. It is our humble duty that as Christians, we do what is necessary. As family members, we do what is necessary to plan and also to assist others and to be part of them during the pain and anguish time. And this, in my own estimation, is a chance for each one of us to work together as a church, as a group, as a welfare, wherever you are watching us from, that we have decency, so that I don't get the example I got from a lady yesterday when I finished church, and she told me, we are embarrassed, we have a family wall, we are just about to do burial next week. Everybody is asking, why is this family, we have been trending and contributing 300,000, it has not reached even 50,000. I mean, everybody is asking what is wrong. They are feeling they are not wanted in that family environment. We can be Christians and we can be equitable to each other because God has given us that chance to do the same. God bless you, wherever you're watching from. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ken, for the presentation. I think by the mere fact that we've not asked so many questions then tells us the clarity of the message got home. Maybe a request, Ken, is we didn't get full house as expected because of some other activities that are running across with the AWM and the youth. If requested to be here one more time, I guess you come to address being case here. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Ken, for accepting that. So what next? I guess that's the question most of us are asking. What next? How do we move on? So maybe we would like to give some ideas on how we want to move, because we're in the month of Feb, and it's the interests of the church that we have this up and running as fast as it's practically possible. So as such, we want to have all forms filled on a willing basis, free will, by the 20th of Feb. 20th of Feb is in the next 4 weeks, give or take. Then we can push ourselves further to get the funds paid across to Liberty, which will be sharing the pay bill on the AMO WhatsApp group and the various WhatsApp groups by latest 31st of March. Simply meaning then, by 1st of May, we should be up and running with this program. Maybe the question I'll ask on behalf of the members. Can we run this program with 3 members from the church?
Yes. The minimum membership that starts is 2 people only. Number 2, I forgot also to say that we don't collect any money from anybody directly to governors. The money is paid directly to insurance companies and we get confirmations. We don't touch, we don't handle any money as governance insurance brokers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, the Church for Equity, Presentation and Equality will go for the 100,000 package. There are guys who will want to go for more, but you don't have a scenario where if it's Chetson, we are giving him 400,000. If it's Elder Kefa, we are giving him 50,000. We don't want to have that disparity. How we'll go, as a church, we'll go the 100,000 model, which is 2,300 premium, or for purposes of this presentation and purposes of the prorated basis, is about 1,500 shillings between now and September 31st, as Ken has illustrated to us. So, if you want something more, Ken, I guess that you've illustrated as well, then you can top up and it'll be paid privately to you. But for the church account, then we'll go the 2,300, where we'll have 100,000 package, regardless of who the member is. We will endeavor to encourage each other. So the first phase is just to ensure that we join all of us. But then the second phase, once we've joined, is that we start preparing for the marathon, which runs from 1st of October 2021 to 31st September 2022. So we shall start preparing ourselves to raise the 2,300 shillings that is required for this campaign. But between now and 31st of September 2021, we need to pay 1,500 shillings. Right? Yes, per family, the principal member, yeah. So this will take us to 31st of September. I think you are very clear. So in essence, what you're saying is, as a church, then we can make, if we have to push ourselves a little bit harder, is just to say that come 1st of May, this is a very uncomfortable statement, but allow me to make, with all due respect, come 1st of May, we should not have any online platforms of money collections. very uncomfortable, but this is how at times we have to make it for us to move forward. Come 1st of May, we shall say, this is the decision that we've done, and this is how we're going to move forward. Then what happens if there are members who cannot trace this amount? Because it's possible that we are not equally blessed. So we will encourage those members to approach the leadership, either the youth team leader, AWM, and the AMO, so that we see how to support these members, because it's one item to be willing to join, and it's another item to raise this amount, so that we know who are these members and how we can support, because there's no point of us not helping an individual to raise 1,500, but when they have issues, we are able to raise 10,000 for them. So we better help all individuals raise this 1,500 shillings to join than wait and somebody says, I was willing to join, but I didn't have the funds. Today, Ken has got the hard copies, and we shall issue them to the members right now so that we start filling them. Due to confidentiality clause, which is in these structures and organizations, all these forms shall be filled and shall be consolidated to DAPNet. So they'll be guiding us in terms of how we fill them and what details are supposed to be filled, and they will be submitted direct to them. What? To Nelson. Absolutely. So when we fill the forms, we shall submit them to Nelson. What he will do is that he will provide details in the sense that we have Kizito Wafula who has joined and is paid this amount of money in this package. So we shall have that list in the church sort of welfare, so that at least we know who is in this already and who has joined. But the specifics in that, then that shall remain with the insurance brokers. Will not be privy to what Chetson has filled in terms of his family and other details. I guess that is clear. Question up to that point?
And for any queries, kindly seek to contact our phone numbers on the line to be able to answer the question once they come, and appreciate for the cooperation.
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. I missed your first name. Are you Ken? Kennedy. Extremely impressive in the manner you have been able to articulate this issue. I've listened and I realized that we need this cover. We need this arrangement so that we're able to do other things. This is a large church that from time to time we are called upon to come out and support. And sometimes you wonder how we actually do it, because it is quite often that in a large family, if you're not mourning, a brother could be mourning. And the disparity you've talked about comes. And you see it quite often that sometimes I can receive more, and I can't explain why I get more and the other brother gets less. And that's why I was whispering to my leader. He said, can you come again, just to make it convenient for us to hear you present this message in the manner you did, in the presence of our members, so that we are together in this journey. We don't want to have a false start. The men that are here may do that, but how many have heard you articulate this thing in the manner you have? It will not be time lost if we speak to the leadership that you can organize one Sabbath because this is also the preaching of the gospel, that I be my sister's, my brother's keeper, in the manner of offering comfort, that the time we'll be able to put aside will be for the gospel, instead of sitting and doing things that we cannot do through this arrangement, because the rates are affordable. I can't speak for everybody, but I see these people struggle there's something I'm seeing we are contributing now for a sister who rested. I have seen a few men have, others haven't. And there's a moment you realize that I should have, but I don't have the money. So supposing you say, let aside this. So all I would ask our men to do is to say, we are willing. Just the Lord will call us. All we need to do is, Lord, I'm available, send me. I think that's my thing. You could be able to speak to the leadership, that we ask them to come soon enough so that we start together. But those of us who are able to start like now, let's start, because the journey of 1,000 or so starts with one step. I think that's my part. Bwana Ken, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Elder. Chelsea. Good afternoon once again. I think it's afternoon already. Yeah? I just want to take this opportunity to just build a case for our brethren, our members. As you have seen, as our leaders pointed out, we are going with the option of 100,000. And we understand clearly, as our brother here, Ken, has very well articulated, that with only 2,300 as a family, you'll be able to get 6 times the value. That is 6 deaths. So that's the equivalent of 600,000. A worst case scenario. 2,300. How much do we contribute? How much do you contribute in a year to the bereavements that we do have? It is more than that. It can be even 10 times that amount. So, as a way of planning to implement this, let's look at this 2,300 you're going to spend over a period of 1 year. So, that will mean it's about how much per month? How much? 200 per month. So, you are saving 200 each month. By the end of the year, you are able to cover a risk. You are able to cover, to assure yourself in terms of covering an expense in case of such an incident. Is it worthy saving it? Yes. And that's why, as part of the leadership of AMO, we are bringing this package and this presentation that we may work together such that we don't leave any one of us out. We are going to incorporate also the church at large so that we are all in it together. And secondly, I want to also articulate more of what Ken was presenting, that what we are, the arrangement that we are developing is that we are not leaving anyone out. Once the data is shared or you fill the form, from the details that you will have shared with us, that is the team, we will be able to advise you how to group it. Because you remember in his presentation, there was a 1% category. Okay? There's another category, that unique categories that we have in the church. We also have even single youth. You have singles, basically. How will you bring them in? Okay? So this, don't look at it only that it is only the family. We are looking at it as a whole church, so that all of us are in it participating together. That's what I wanted to
clarify. Elder.
Thank you so much, Brother Chetson. I would like to, because our parents is good to hear in the first month, Brother Simeon. Brother Simeon Kamakut. Brother Simeon is from New Life, and is a member of New Life, but then he's a friend and neighbor here. I want him to, just because he's seen it work, maybe he gives us his experience, how he's seen it work, so that at least we know that it's, it's something that we're talking about is possible in this field.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name, as you've been told, I'm Simeon Maseregwa. I'm a member of New Life SDA Church. And my standing here is just to testify that I have seen it work. I've seen it work. The journey when you lose someone is bureaucratic when it comes to finances. And I've seen there is a big disparity between different individuals whenever there is a problem within the church. Personally, I have participated in a number of groups to contribute money, and I have seen that whenever this money comes from Liberty Insurance, it gives the families a peace of mind that we've never seen before. It comes in a manner like we have subscribed to the one of 100,000, and when it comes on board, it changes everything. And even when you are mourning, I've come to realize that you need some peace of mind. And I have seen it work, and I have never seen a flexible insurance like these ones. Personally, I have been having a problem with insurance. I believe they are risky ventures that you get into, and then at the end of the day, you never gain anything. But this one, I've seen it work. Different from the traditional schemes or policies that I've seen before, where the issue of paperwork becomes apparent whenever you are claiming. This one happens in the between actually 24 to 48 hours that you have already had. It comes in handy. It can help you do many things that finances can do. And therefore, I want to confirm to my brothers that I'm not here, I don't work for Liberty. I don't work for DAF Nest, but I'm here to testify that it works. It is easy, it is flexible, and it's a worthy venture that I want my brothers to get into. Even me, when you start, I may want also to be party from this particular point, from this particular church. Since I'm a neighbor, I'll be coming here. I don't know whether we'll be changing our membership soon, but we are still consulting. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much. I'll open the floor for the last one time, and there'll be no question, so that you address it. And a point of clarity, especially for the gentleman who has just been. Yeah, please.
I think we came a bit late, but I think insurance, as you have said, it's something good. And what my friend has said, sometimes when you're raising money, maybe it is mostly, it's brutal, it's a full life, and so on. So I think it tends that we favor brutal, we favor mostly to a full life. So I think what you say that it's good that all members join in. And now my question was, you see, like, I don't know, we came with a bit late. Does it cover like our parents, our children, our sibling? I think it came to, how does it, because I can remember last year there was a insurance company that came and covers parents, because most of people here have all the parents, so how does it cover? And another thing I was saying, like, assuming that, God forbid, we've changed, and we have around 10 days in money, how does it cover?
Okay, Ken, do I take the honors? So how it works it covers the principal member if it's root who has joined. It will cover your parents if you put in them. And if you're married, it covers the other parents as well, plus kids up to a maximum of 4 kids. With that, the 2,300 model. But if you have more kids, let's say if you have 8 kids, then for the extra 4, you'll pay some premium over and above that. The other question you asked, if you have multiple debts in that setup, so it will pay up to a maximum of 6. So what does that mean? Is if assuming, God forbid, there's an accident and 6 members of the family die, then it will pay 600,000 in that case. That's per family. But assuming it's for the whole church and we have, let's say, 80 cases per annum, then it will take care of those 80 cases, regardless of the number then. Assuming that in every case there were 3. So it's 80 by 3, that's 240. So multiply 240 by 100K so to get what they'll take care of. Yeah, subject to 6 per family. I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So what we'll do right after this, outside here, we shall issue out actually we can issue the forms even while we are seated. Okay, so the ladies will pick. Bosley, could you come forward and close us with a word of prayer, please? Before Bosley closes, if you go to the church YouTube, this presentation is there, especially for the lady who missed and the youth. You can go watch the whole presentation. It's available so that at least it helps clarify some questions.
Let's stand for closing prayer. Our Lord in heaven, we thank you this morning for the fruitful meeting that we have had. Thank you, Lord, for the progress of this church, that today you have enabled us to have very fruitful discussions over our lives when we live on earth. We have discussed about life insurance cover, such that, Lord, we don't exercise inequality in the church, but also to have equality whereby in case one of us has an incident is covered like any other member of the church. Lead us in this process that our leaders have pressed on us. And as we move forward, Lord, we seek and we urge you that you be with us, you walk with us, give us good wisdom to help us achieve our goals here, and also let this cover also be part of the missions of your church as we continue worshiping you each and every time. God in heaven, we want to pray from here and undertake other various activities of the day. Lord, we ask that you be ahead of us. Lead each and every one of us as we move forward in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.